everyone. Thank you for tuning in to part 2 of our series about accessing the collections here at the Kentucky Historical Society. Part 1 took you on a virtual tour of our library space, and we touched on a few of the databases that are available to you when you visit here on site. But one really important thing you need to know about our collections is that you can access part of them right from home. And in fact, before you think about visiting us on site, you're going to want to take a look at these collections, these catalogs, these research tools that we have, so that you can kind of prepare for your visit and begin some of your research right from home. Okay, so let's dig right in. The very first step that you want to take in order to access our catalogs and research tools is to visit our main website. That site lives at history.ky.gov. And once you arrive, you're going to see a lot of moving parts because this site serves as the portal to all of the amazing things that the Kentucky Historical Society offers. We serve Kentucky in many, many ways. Not only do we have a wonderful library, but we have multiple museums here. We have learning services for school-aged children. We have outreach programs that reach every county in our state. So when you arrive, you're going to see a lot of different pieces about those things, about those different ways that you can get involved. There will definitely be a listing of events. There's going to be some statistics, as you see. There's going to be even some news pieces that you're going to want to read. And once you're finished exploring our main page, I want you to scroll all the way back up to the top. This is where you'll find a drop-down menu bar that lives at the top of your screen. I want you to zero back in on this resources section. You're going to refer back to this quite often as you explore the various research options at KHS. The first couple of sections, the Kentucky History at a Glance and the Martin F. Schmidt Research Library, I'm going to skip those two for this segment simply because they contain a lot of background information and the complete research policies that we have for the library. Those are things that we kind of covered a little bit in the first video. This third section right here is the one I want you to click on to access the tools that we're looking at today. Upon arriving on the Catalogs and Research Tools page, I want you to notice that it's essentially divided into two different sections. This first section, KHS Catalogs, Publications, and Databases, will be the main focus of what we cover today, but this section includes those items that you can access for free from home. You do not have to be on site in order to access these items. The second section, More Research Tools, contains the items you do need to be on site in order to use. Things such as Ancestry, Louisville Courier-Journal, American periodicals, Fold 3, and even those wonderful Family Search items that fall under the Family Search History Affiliate Library option. But one other thing to note about the importance of this page here is even for the more research tools, the items that I outlined that are on-site access only, you actually need to click on these through this page in order for them to log in correctly while you're on site. So again, you're still going to want to go to this page. Scrolling back up to the top, we're going to take a brief look at each one of these catalogs and research tools in turn. And the very first one we're going to take a look at is the library catalog. Now this is going to provide you with lists of what we have in the library. Book titles and the call numbers associated, archival collections, also with their call numbers, as well as microfilm holdings and other items that we have here in the library. Now it's not going to contain the actual items. This is the part of research where you actually need the call number and then you want to go refer to the book. So this is a really great place to start, especially if you want to prepare for your visit and get an idea of what we have in our holdings. Now when I click on this, it's going to take you to a general search interface, but it looks a little bit different from the search options you have available once you get your results. And let me show you the difference. On this main page, you're going to see a keyword search. You can search by county, search by surname, and search by call number. At this point, I'm going to actually just type in, we're going to search for Daniel Boone today. And just like any database, any search interface that you encounter, there are a lot of different tips and tricks that you can use to come up with different results. And this is just like any one of those. So if you want to put things in quotation marks, you want to use the Boolean search, you can do all of that with these. But just for now, since this is a brief demonstration, I'm just going to show you what a generic search might look like. Here we have the search results for our Daniel Boone query. And as you can see, the results page looks very different from the search interface that you used at the beginning. And that's because that very first page is somewhat of a catalog overlay for the real catalog. And that page lives on our website. The search results actually come up in the catalog. And for future searches, while you're using the catalog, you can go right up here to this search box and put in another term that you'd like to search for, or click on the advanced search, and everything works the same. Or if you prefer, going back and using the county filter or the surname search, that kind of thing, you're more than welcome to do that as well. But once you're here in the search results page, you'll notice that we pulled up 307 items that relate to Daniel Boone in some way in our collection. And it's going to start with number 1, number 2, and go all the way to 307. And it's going to be a mixture of book materials, article chapters, archival material, you name it, it'll all be mixed in together in this search results page. And this is where the left side of your screen becomes your best friend, because it's going to allow you to filter out or narrow down your search to manageable size or to the type of items that you're specifically looking for. The very first section here on the left side, I need you to really pay attention to when you're searching from home. As you can see, there are 3 different options here. There's libraries worldwide, there's the Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives, and there's the Kentucky Historical Society. Now, obviously, we're sitting here in this library, and of course I have that box checked for Kentucky Historical Society. And you're going to want to do that if you're at home. Make sure you've got the right library selected. But let's say you put in a search term and nothing came up, and it turns out the Kentucky Historical Society didn't own anything related to the term or the family that you were looking for. You actually can then select a different library, or you can convert to libraries worldwide to see if there's any neighboring libraries that might have something that would relate to your research. So this is actually a really nice tool right here, and it reminds us that this catalog is actually connected to libraries worldwide, and therefore it expands your research capabilities. Now, taking a closer look at the search results we have on the screen, again, moving to that left-hand part of your screen, you'll notice that we have a lot of format options. If I expand that, it's going to give you even a larger list. But let's say you wanted some more archival items related to Daniel Boone or his family. So let's just use that example and select archival material. As you can see, there are only 34 of those. And it has now rearranged your search results to archival items only. The call numbers have changed slightly, and the location is listed as library closed stacks instead of general stacks. General stacks is the area just off the reading room in the library where you can actually go back and pull the book yourself and come out and read it. For closed stacks, they live back in our archival storage area, but they're still accessed right there in the library. You just fill out a little call slip, and our staff can go back down the hall and grab the item for you in just a few minutes. But doing your research ahead of time to pull some of these call numbers actually does help with your research process. And as you can see now, we've filtered out what we needed. This left-hand side stays pretty similar. It has changed slightly, but even though you get the call number in this section, if you click on one of these, your entire screen suddenly changes. But it's a good thing. In fact, even though your left hand has now changed to reflect just the results list that you were wanting to look at, this section here gives you way more information about the item. And each one of these sections, description, and editions and formats are all expandable. And the description area is really important. It can be really lengthy. It can give you a lot of different subjects that if you see a subject in here that relates to something you're researching, you can actually click on that and then it'll search on that subject. It will pull out items related to that subject. So that's very handy. And so if you wanted to continue down the page and pull open another item, expand that description section. See, this one's much larger. Consists of 31 items, letters. It gives you all about the scope of what's in here. This one actually contains a family tree and gives you the different surnames that are included on that family tree. So again, this is a very important part of the catalog search. Now, remember I told you about that left-hand side that was your friend. It hasn't actually went anywhere. If you click up here on View Filters, it comes right back. And you go right back to the view that you had when you had first searched and then filtered. Remember when I told you that the library catalog contained a list of the items we have in the library and in our archival storage section? Well, that is true, but there are a few items that you need to be watchful for that are related to our digitization program. And I'm going to demonstrate by searching for a different person. The very first collection that pops up is the Emily Todd Helm papers. And in this case, as you can see, there's a new item that has popped up in your search results. It's a green button that says Access Online. Now, when you click on this button, you will actually be taken to a different catalog, a catalog that we're about to cover next. The term Access Online usually means one of two things. If you're lucky enough, it might actually take you directly to scanned or digitized images of the item itself. In cases of photographic collections, smaller collections such as family Bible records or correspondence, some diaries, things like that, we have digitized them and placed them up online for you to use for free. In other cases, for those collections that are a little bit too large for us to fully digitize, it's going to send you to something we call a finding aid. And again, we're talking about collections that are really large, sometimes 100 boxes or more. And it's really hard for a researcher to know which box should I pick. We have large genealogy collections that have been donated to us, and this finding aid will actually help you burrow down into it to see which box might have the surname or family that you're looking for. So a finding aid looks something like this. So if you have some hardcore research that you're trying to conduct, you can actually download that PDF to keep for your records and to refer back to. Even bring it along if you need to for the day. It's a really handy item to have because as you go through this finding aid, it's going to give you not only an overview, it's going to give you a historical sketch of the collection, it's going to give you the scope and contents of the collection, it's going to give you some related material, and most importantly, it's going to give you that container list. And you can actually walk in the door visiting the library and know which box that you want us to pull right from the start. So it's a very handy thing to use before you even visit the library. Okay, so we're actually going to focus now on the digital collections catalog. And instead of going directly to the digital collections catalog home, I'm going to go right back to the main page again because I want to show you again resources, catalogs and research tools. And this time, the digital collections catalog is number 2 on our list. So as I explained earlier, this catalog contains the digitized images of our archival material, and you're going to find original, unique items such as family photographs. You're going to find sometimes family Bibles. There will be letters, correspondence, other manuscript material. Some oral histories will also be in here, but we'll cover those a little bit more in another database that we have available. And you can actually click on any of these larger collections that we've digitized if you'd like to browse a little bit, but the best way to take a look at something is to search for it. And just as an example, I'm going to take a look and see which family Bibles we might have in this catalog. And the very first things that pop up are not actually image related. They are some PDF committee reports. There are some back issues of Kentucky Ancestors, which this is where those will live once those are all loaded up into this catalog, which is coming soon. And now I'm starting to see some of the actual images of the family Bible records. And if we click on one of these, you can now see the full digitized image, and you can scroll through. Just hold your mouse and move that image up and down. You can zoom in or you can zoom out. If it's a collection that we have made a transcription of, that would live right here in this little tab. In this case, we don't have a transcription for this one. And if you want to move to other pages of the Bible, that lives right over here in the right-hand side. So I'm going to click on another page and let that load. Now there are other surnames potentially in this Bible, and we have actually included other surnames in the descriptions of these. So even though this may be the Yelton Bible, don't worry about searching for your surnames, because even if we get a family Bible record that contains many, we will actually include those in the descriptions, and those will be caught in your search term efforts. So don't worry about that. Now, if you do find one that you like, that you would like to keep for your records, you can actually download a medium resolution image of that page to keep for your records. Now, in the cases of publication, if you find something that you really would like to include in a publication at a future date, just contact us for our rights and reproductions information. There is a portion that I would like you to take a look at too. If you've got some family information about anything you find here, if you find a photograph that you can identify some of the people in it, or if you can give us some more background information about anything you find in this catalog, there's a comment section, and we would love for you to be able to put in your comments here, because then it'll actually help us with the knowledge that we have for a particular item. Sometimes your family information can really help us with the description or the contextual knowledge that we have of an item. Okay, so let's take a look at something else. Let's say, okay, so in this case, I'm looking for Dr. Wendell's collection. This is just a collection that I know about that contains a lot of photographs. Now, the first few things I'm pulling up, as you can see, there's an oral history, there's a couple of finding aids, but right here again on the left-hand side, do you guys remember I talked about the left-hand side for the library catalog? Well, the same does apply for this catalog, where you can filter some of the things to help with your search results. Here's one of my favorite is type, still image or photograph, both of those, or if you're looking for an oral history, that kind of thing. If you click on one of these, it'll lump your search results into that type. And again, you can click on any of these and it'll take you directly to the photograph. And you can zoom in, zoom out, download. And a lot of times in this case, when you see a photograph like this and you'll see a second page, what that usually means is the backside of the photograph. according to archival practices, when we digitize items like this, we always photograph the backside of an image just in case there's any information on the back, and to provide the researcher with the knowledge that, hey, there is some information or there's not, and there's proof positive just through the digitized image. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to go right back to the Digital Collections home because I want to try a different search. And there's a couple of things that you need to be aware of in this collection that can really help your early research in Kentucky. One of the things we have here is the index to divorces in the Kentucky Acts. For those of you researching ancestors that may have lived divorced pre-1850, the divorces had to be they had to be approved by the legislature between 1795 and 1850. So those are going to be listed in the acts of the General Assembly, but good luck finding those. That can be quite a research endeavor. So long ago, I want to say long ago, 10 years ago, they created an index to the divorces in the Kentucky Acts. So genealogically speaking, this is actually a really handy resource that is available here. And once again, it looks like a PDF. You're going to take a look at various pages to go through. They're going to be alphabetical, and it's going to give you the date, the county, and what page in the Acts that you're going to find it. Okay, so heading back up to the home page again. If you wondered whether we have your family in our surname vertical file collection, which we mentioned in part 1 of the video series, all you have to do is type in surname to the Digital Collections catalog, and not too far down you'll find a surname list. And very much like the divorce list, you will see that there's multiple pages. It'll tell you whether we have 1 or 17, or if we probably go down here to Smith, I'm sure it's going to be quite a lot. But as you can see, it gives you an estimation whether we have your family name in our collection and how many files might be associated with that family name. Okay, so this concludes our coverage of the Digital Collections catalog. And I would encourage everyone to take a little time and explore this specific catalog because of the wealth of free information that's in here. A lot of important research elements. I guarantee you're going to find something about your community or contextual subject history about Kentucky, early Kentucky maps, or even your family. So spend a little time on this. Again, it's free, and you can actually access this one directly through the URL kyhistory.com, and spread the word. Again, it's a free resource for Kentuckians, and you can access this anywhere and download the information for your research. Heading back to the catalogs and research tools, we're going to go right down the list and hit up number 3, which is the Artifacts Catalog. And much like the Digital Collections Catalog, this one contains thousands of images of our collection. But instead of archival collections, this contains images of our museum objects and artifacts. In fact, about 100,000 images that are free for you to use in your research. Here's a little explanation on how best to search using various quotation marks, a little tips on those. Those are actually really helpful. So, before you get going, take a look at the instructions that they've got here. There are other options such as an advanced search. You can look at random images. So how might you use this catalog for your family history research? Well, just think about it. The Kentucky Historical Society has been collecting on Kentucky families and historical figures since 1836. And over the years of donations that we've received from all over the country, you never know when a cousin or someone in your family tree might have donated something that belonged to your family. Plus, you get the added bonus of just taking a look through some of these images will help you understand how Kentuckians lived over time, and how we marked special occasions, giving you a lot of contextual information about the history of Kentucky. So let's just take a little search in this box. I'm not searching for any family. I'm just searching a random term to show you a little bit about how this looks when you search for an item. You'll get your general results just down the page, similar to what we've seen before. All different kinds of things, Canon, cameras, certificates. And this desk, I want to show you this desk. When you click on one of the items that you want to explore a little bit further, you'll see that it outlines the name, the catalog number, the date, the approximate date of creation, dimensions. This description is a lot about the item itself, how it was made, what materials it was made from. But the notes field right here gives you a little bit more about the people related to that item. So as you can see, there's a lot of family connected to this one item. And there's also some subjects that you can actually click on that'll take you to some other items related to potentially a county, or if there's a family, if we have any other family information, it might connect you to another one. This little dress down here, beautiful little piece, 1782. It reads that this was a blue and white dotted dress worn by Betsy Grant, niece of Daniel Boone, as she came with her parents on the journey from North Carolina to Bryan Station. Daniel Boone's niece wore this dress at the raid of Bryan Station. So again, an amazing little piece of family history for the Grant family and for the Boone family. And again, here's some other search terms that'll help you connect back. Now, again, there were some search tips at the beginning in the description on that front page, but this is what the advanced search looks like. And of course, you can also take a look at some random images because there's some amazing pieces. It's quite a span of the types of items that we have. I guarantee you could never name them all. There's so many here, so many random pieces, but they all tell a little bit of Kentucky's story. So here we are back out at the Catalogs and Research Tools page once again, and we're going to continue down that list. And this time we're going to click on the Civil War Governors of Kentucky Digital Documentary Edition. This is a fairly new resource that has only been available for the past couple of years, and it is a digital collection of historical documents associated with the chief executives of the state, 1860 to 1865. Now just keep in mind that during the Civil War, Kentucky had very split allegiances, which meant we actually had two different forms of government, one for the Union, one for the Confederacy, and which meant multiple governors at the same time. So these collections, while it sounds like the documents would relate directly just to the governors of the time, the documents capture the voices of tens of thousands of Kentuckians who interacted with those offices during the war. And so you're going to get a lot of appeals from local people, asking for things, asking for restoration of property, or asking for leniency or even pardons in the case of an arrest and things like that. So it's a really intriguing collection from the family historian perspective. And again, these are free images that you can utilize for your research. And I searched for one of my family's surnames and got a hit right away. This item here related back to the community that I'd been researching. And just to give you an idea of what these documents look like when you find something, you're going to get beautiful digital images so you can inspect the document itself. You can scroll through there. And you can also download. You can get a full citation. And in most cases, you can actually get a full transcription that's right here to the right. Now, yes, I did happen to find a surname that I've been looking for, a rather unique surname that I was looking for in this community, and I did find it. And one of the most amazing parts of this document was that there was another entry here, another family name from the same community that popped up, and it turns out that it was my third great grandfather, Barton Warren Cox. And if I look through all of these signatures, I can actually see my great 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 grandfather's signature, which is really an amazing thing to find. It turns out it was just a petition that they were asking for the pardon of this person who had committed, in their opinion, a small crime, and the entire community, all of the men of the community, were signing a petition in order to have this person's sentence reduced in order for him to go back and take care of his family. So quite a family document here, even though it was designed for a very official purpose. You know, you can actually find some amazing little family gems with this database right here. Okay, back out to our list again. We're going to go down the list to Kentucky Ancestors Online, and hopefully you all know about this resource. It's been around since 2013. Again, freely accessible online for anyone to use. There's a lot of case studies and wonderful profiles of Kentucky families in here, plus a lot of how-to features on everything from touring the library, which we just covered last time, to accessing those family search restricted records, which is really important for on-site visitors, and collections corners, book notes, history mysteries, all of those things. And you're also going to get a really comprehensive list of the upcoming genealogy events that we have right here in the library. So again, a great free resource. You guys have probably already researched this one. One upcoming component of this, a publication that was in print for 40 years called Kentucky Ancestors. And in 2013, we moved it to an online-only access publication. And we are now in the works trying to digitize all of the back print issues, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. So be watching for that. That'll be placed online very soon, and therefore you'll be able to access all of the back issues for free, and we're really excited about that. So heading back. The Register of the Kentucky Historical Society. The Register of the Kentucky Historical Society is our oldest publication. This has been going on since the turn of the previous century, actually, and current issues are available through membership only and provided through Project Muse. So you would need the credentials that go along with your membership in order to access these current issues all the way through 2010. For those that predate 2010, those issues are available for free through a different site called JSTOR. And remember when I just showed you Kentucky Ancestors, there is a how-to section just on using JSTOR to access these back issues of the register. And the reason that's really important for genealogists is because the earliest years of the register's publication, they were devoted to more of a family component. They did a lot of genealogical research in those articles, as where today it's more of a scholarly journal. So you still can find some family information in there, but actually you're going to find more family information in the older issues. And again, to access those earlier issues, in fact, those back issues through 2009, full text searchable, you're going to want to go to jstor.org, which is JSTOR.org. And it just might have your family information that you're looking for, especially about Kentucky's early settlement period. So here we are heading back down that list again to the historical marker database. And the Kentucky Historical Marker program has been around for decades here at the Kentucky Historical Society, and we've provided historical markers throughout the state. Every county is represented with multiple markers, and I know what happens. You're driving along in the car, and one of those historical markers just whizzes right past you, or there's no place to turn off and park. So you wish you could see what it said, and this database is really handy for coming back and exploring your county to see what historical markers exist, and you get to read the text that is on each one of those markers. So it can give you some really nice little research components, especially about the contextual history of an area. So if your family was from a certain county, you can kind of go through there, and you never know. You might actually find a commemoration of historic property that might have been associated with your family. So it's a really important resource here. And we also have an app now that you can download that will allow you to plan your travel based on the historical markers that are in an area. So take advantage of that. It's a really fun component to your research. So heading back down our list again, we hit something of a little trick because the Explore KY History goes right to the app that I was telling you about. This is connected to our historical marker program, and the really great part about this element is that it combines the information from the historical markers with our collection component. So they've taken the history from a marker and combined that information with specific items we have in our museum collections or in our archival collections in order to tell a broader story about that marker and about the history contained therein. So if you want to take a tour based on a subject, there are Civil War tours, there are historical building tours, there are bourbon tours, all kinds of different subjects that you can click on. And when you do click on one, look at that, you can see a historical element that relates directly to the information on that. It'll not only give you the contents of the historical marker, but it expands that story greatly. And then you can click on all these different images that relate to that story and help tell it to a greater degree. Okay, we're heading down the list and we're getting close to the end. The Kentucky Media Bank is a relatively new project that we've been doing for a few years, and it is a site designed to collect your memories and personal collections of images, recordings, stories that you can share with Kentucky and can help tell the story of Kentucky from your perspective or your family's perspective. Now, we've advertised this usually based on the current topic that we're wanting to get more information about. So right now our topic is how UK football broke the SEC color barrier. Previously we had a topic related to civil rights in Kentucky or civil rights march on Frankfurt. So, keep watch. We advertise every once in a while about a different topic, and therefore once that comes up, we really want you to help fill in that story about Kentucky in relation to that topic. And so, if you've got oral histories or images, or, you just want to type up your memory of something concerning that topic, then we would love to have that. And it really does help to tell Kentucky's story. Okay, so we have reached the last entry on our list for free access from home. This is Pass the Word. And this is a database that allows you to search for oral history interviews throughout the state. As I mentioned before, the Kentucky Historical Society is home to the Kentucky Oral History Commission. So we have a really large oral history collection here on site. But there have been other programs throughout the state that other organizations and institutions have conducted, and this interface will allow you to search for a family name or an individual to see if you can find that interview that might exist in another collection somewhere around Kentucky. And if you just search for a name. You're going to get a list of interviews. Now, in some small cases, it might take you to an actual interview, but in most cases, this is just a listing of the interviews that exist. So if I just click on one of these, it takes me to a small listing of that interview, and if I click on that, it'll take me to this larger entry. And as you can see, there's a Kentucky Historical Society logo listed on this one. Now, this one was conducted for the Woodford County Oral History Project, but it must have been a project that was funded through the Kentucky Oral History Commission. Therefore, the interview does reside here with us. We do have the original tapes on that, and we can digitize those. If you would like to listen to those, you can come into the library to listen to them, or if you are not close enough to visit with us, you can actually order a copy, a digital copy. They usually run around $15 for items coming from us, just because we haven't digitized a lot of our collection yet, and so there's a little bit to that. So get it here. If you see that button, in our case, it takes you directly to our main website, which is not actually that helpful, but there's no reason to panic. This little button over here on the side that's on the video, that pops out. And if you go to the For Researchers section and you scroll all the way down to Collections, Rights, and Reproductions, you can fill out a collection duplication request form. Just fill that in, listing which interview that you wanted to see, and if it's just for your family for personal use, just check that box there and send back to us. We will send back a cost estimate on reproducing that oral history interview for you. If you go back, if we find another interview from somewhere else, okay, and as you can see, this interview is actually owned by Eastern Kentucky University, which means if you would like to get a copy of that interview, the Get It Here button will send you directly to their Oral History Center, and you can see a listing of their different interviews that they have, complete with images, which is really nice, and just means that their access rules would apply. So if you decided you wanted to get a copy from them, you would have to contact them directly, and whatever fees associated they might have with that access would be up to them, and you would negotiate that with their center instead of KHS. And just to wrap up here on Pass the Word, it is a discovery tool for oral history interviews and collections throughout the state, with 100 archives participating in this collection listing. So it's kind of a one-stop shopping for you to discover oral histories throughout the Commonwealth. And again, it's an amazing resource for your research and digging deeper into what might exist for your Kentucky family. Okay, everybody, thanks for sticking around and getting all the way through this list of KHS catalogs, publications, and databases that are available to you for free from home. You can access anytime. You do not need a membership to take advantage of these wonderful resources, and I'm convinced you're going to find some wonderful family gems in there. So get researching. We'd love to see you on site here soon, but we understand for those that are far away that this might be a way that you can utilize and discover some more about your Kentucky family. This concludes our lesson for today. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you visiting our library very soon. Be watching for more lessons just like this to teach you how to research your Kentucky ancestors.